Welcome to the Final Whistle. I'm your host, Drew Ziegler, and today I'm here with James Gougousis and John Grant. The purpose of this show is to discuss pro sports from football to baseball to basketball. We are here to bring you our opinions about pro sports all over. Today we will talk all about the NFL, college football, and ending off our show with the NBA. Our first topic today will be the NFL. So who do you guys think is the front runner for MVP?
I think the front runner for MVP this year is Jalen Hurts. I mean, he's been really good this year, led the Eagles to 11-1 record. He's been much better than last year. He's been, throwing the ball extremely well.
I mean, I got to go with Patrick Mahomes and KC. I feel like they don't really have the same amount of playmakers that they used to. They lost Tyreek Hill. Now it's just they have a seventh-round running back. Travis Kelce's still there, but their wide receiver one is Mecole Hardman.
I agree with you, John, and I also think your take about Jalen Hurts is good because they're 11-1. They're the best team in the NFL. So those are two great picks. And the game of the week this week between the Bengals and the Chiefs, the Bengals came out on top yet again against the Chiefs. What do you think about that?
I mean, the Bengals looked really well. They kind of owned the Chiefs this year. Joe Burrow played great. The defense, for the most part, played pretty well, shutting down Pat Mahomes. I was really impressed with the Bengals.
I mean, Burrow has just been on fire recently. I mean, that whole offense, I think that they can take it all the way again.
I think Burrow's rising in the MVP conversation as well. And what do you think about Jimmy Garoppolo injury for the 49ers? How are they going to be able to do it without him?
I mean, I think on a standpoint of the 49ers offense, they never really had a high quarterback-powered offense. They never really throw the ball like that. They more rely on their defense. So Jimmy Garoppolo, he would throw the ball 20 times a game and they would still win. So I'm not really too worried about it from a 49ers fan.
Yeah, I agree. I think the 49ers offense, when they're passing, it's mostly screen plays or 5-yard passes. It doesn't really take a high caliber, talented quarterback. I think Brock Purdy could make a run for the 49ers in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's Mr. Irrelevant. He was the last pick in the 2022 NFL draft, which is really impressive. And there was another big injury this week, Lamar Jackson, who could be out multiple weeks. What do you guys think about the Ravens? How are they going to do?
I'd be worried if I was a Ravens fan. They did not look good on Sunday. If Lamar can come back in 2 weeks, I'd say that's best case scenario, but they did not look good with Tyler Huntley out there.
I mean, the Bengals are rising. They started the season bad, but now they're starting to win games. Tyler Huntley is not going to win you games like that you need a win in order to get to the number one in your division. Losing 10-9 to the Broncos, who have been one of the worst teams in the league this year, does not look good at all for the Ravens.
And the Cowboys and Eagles in the NFC East, they're playing really well, both of them. Who do you think's better between those two?
I mean, honestly, I got to go with the Cowboys. I feel like the Cowboys have played a lot of better teams, and I mean, 33 points in one quarter is insane.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Cowboys have looked really good. They're impressing me a lot. Even though the Eagles got off to that fast start, I think the Cowboys are really impressing me.
And there were a lot of great games this week. Personally, I think this was the best group of games this season. Starting off with the Giants versus the Commanders, ended off with a tie, which was pretty disappointing. But who do you think is better between those, which a lot of playoff implications between them?
I mean, how about the Commanders, man? Taylor Heineke, your quarterback, last played in the XFL, and now they're 7-5-1. I mean, they're fighting for a wild card spot.
Yeah, if I had to pick between the Commanders and the Giants, I would have to say the Commanders. I think they played much better than the Giants over the past month or so. So, yeah, I think the Commanders have just been a really hot team. I would take the Commanders over the Giants.
The Giants are still looking for OBJ to come back. They could really use him if he's still playing up to his standards like he used to. And another great game this week, Miami versus San Francisco. 49ers still killing the Dolphins despite losing their quarterback.
Yeah, I was really impressed by the 49ers defense. I was really curious to see how the Dolphins offense would be against the 49ers defense. And even though at first it looked like Dolphins were going to destroy the 49ers defense came alive after that first play touchdown.
I mean, if I'm Mike McDaniel, the Miami Dolphins right now, I am very worried for the playoffs. If you cannot beat Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers and you lose to them by 2 possessions, how do you think you're going to do in the playoffs?
And also Mike White leading to the Jets into U.S. Bank Stadium against the Vikings. They just came up short. They had their chance. What do you think about the Jets and the Vikings?
I mean, Mike White showed that he can lead his team to what should have been a comeback win if Braxton Berrios caught that pass in the end zone. The Jets, I mean, getting Zach Wilson out of there and putting someone like Mike White in there showed them how really a good team they are. They just need that quarterback. I don't think Zach Wilson's that guy.
Yeah, Mike White is not that great of a quarterback. I think the only chance they have to make the playoffs is if he's the starting quarterback. If I'm a Jets fan, I'm still optimistic though. I mean, who would have thought they're like playing meaningful games in December? So even though it's frustrating, I think they should be proud.
Yeah, Robert Saleh is obviously a defensive-minded coach, and their defense has been great this season, and it's showing. Also, the Raiders versus the Chargers, an AFC West matchup. What do you think about those two teams, and are the Chargers going to be able to make the playoffs this season?
I feel like it's just the same old Chargers. Every year I feel like they're just about to win the game, and then they lose. And to teams like the Raiders were one of the worst teams in the league. They're starting to come alive a little bit more, but the Chargers just seem that they always lose those big games by one touchdown or one field goal. I don't know if it might. They're not. I don't know if they're gonna be able to make the playoffs in that division.
Yeah, if you look at their roster, the Chargers roster is stacked. I mean, they got Herbert, Allen, and then defensively they had Khalil Mack and J.C. Jackson before he got injured. But that defense really has been disappointing this year.
Because on paper they should be one of the best teams in the league, but for some reason they're not.
Yeah, they were projected by many people to win the Super Bowl this year.
I thought they were going to win the Super Bowl this year. That was my preseason pick.
I thought Herbert was going to be the front runner for MVP.
Yeah,
but they
he
just
looked
can't
great
do
last
something.
season.
They just can't put it together.
Yeah. And next week, there are big divisional games, starting off with the Giants versus Eagles. How do you think that game's going to go?
I mean, the Giants started off the season great. I feel like they're kind of running out of steam now, and the Eagles are only going up. I mean, Jalen Hurts is playing amazing. I think the Eagles, it might be close, but I think the Eagles might take down the Giants.
Yeah, I agree. The only chance that's close is because it's a home game and MetLife Stadium's going to be rocking, but I don't see a way that the Giants are going to lose to beat the Eagles.
I think if the Giants can play their game, run the ball, they can keep with the Eagles, but I don't think they're going to end up winning.
The Giants are very full of injuries, though. Like their offensive line, defense, there's a lot of injuries on that squad.
Yeah, they could really use Adoree Jackson and Xavier McKinney back in that defense. And also the Jets versus Bills, Josh Allen against Mike White. Who would have thought? But that's where we're at right now. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, the Jets beat them earlier in the season. I don't think that the Jets are going to sweep the Bills. I feel like the Bills are one of the best teams in the league. Josh Allen started off the season front runner for MVP 100%, but now he's starting to make a lot of mistakes in the red zone. I don't know. I feel like it'll be close, but I have the Bills taking them.
Yeah, me too. I think the Bills' defense is going to step up. If Josh Allen doesn't make those mistakes in the red zone, I think they'll win easily. It's just all about like not making mistakes with Josh Allen, which I trust him. I think they're gonna win the game.
Yeah, I don't think this game's really going to be close. I think the Bills are going to destroy the Jets at home. And Deshaun Watson finally returns against his former team, not looking so great. Do you think he'll progress throughout the season, though?
I don't think so. I mean, not playing in 2 years, it really showed. Maybe he'll get better, I think, but I don't think he's ever going to be that top 5 quarterback he once was, especially not this year. He did not look good against the Texans.
I mean, a lot of people are forgetting that 2 years ago, Deshaun Watson was a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. Mm-hmm. First game back in 2 years, he's not going to be putting up 5 touchdowns. He's going to be a little slow. They still won the game. I think that he has to take, because he was suspended. He couldn't even be working with the team. Yeah. So I feel like once he starts working with the team and in practice, building up chemistry, he'll be a lot better.
Yeah, they could definitely use some more chemistry. Their defense and special teams led them. They had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But he did versus arguably the worst defense in the league. So he obviously could have done better.
Good team.
And what about Brady and the Bucks? Comeback versus the Saints after he looked terrible throughout the whole game.
I mean, vintage Tom Brady, man. 44th fourth quarter comeback is just insane. I mean, Brady looked terrible until the last 5 minutes of the game. He scored 2 touchdowns to win it.
Yeah, it was just like the Rams game where he looked terrible in the first 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden he turned into a prime Tom Brady. I mean, the Bucks have not been good. The NFC South has been terrible. Even though it's a good win, I mean, you still got to be worried if you're a Bucks fan about they might win the division, but maybe a sub 500 team, who knows? Even though they have Tom Brady, I don't think they're gonna make a deep run.
Yeah, they're in a really bad division. They haven't looked good at all. Brady, I think, might be on the downfall finally.
I don't know about that. I feel like you can't really sleep on Tom Brady like that. Going to the playoffs, something turns on in his mind. I would not be surprised if the Bucs win out in the playoffs and go all the way. I'm telling you. I have a feeling about Brady this year.
Doesn't feel like he's on the same page with his receivers right now, though.
Yeah.
And he's been yelling at his offensive lineman a lot. So when we come back, we'll be talking about college football and the big championship game this week, and Steven will join us on the set. Welcome back. Now we will talk about college football. Our first topic is the conference championships, where Georgia defeated LSU, Michigan beat Purdue, Clemson defeated UNC, and Utah beat USC, and Kansas State beat TCU. What are your guys' takeaways from the conference championship week?
TCU, man, I mean, their quarterback, just the whole entire team, leaves it all out there. Their offense is their key, but he didn't play well that game. That's the reason why they didn't put up that many points, but their defense it's not good, but I'm a little worried about them,
In the Pac-12 championship game, USC could not tackle. Their defense was really bad. Against Michigan and Purdue, I think Michigan played pretty well. I think they definitely could have been better, even though the final score looked like Michigan dominated. I wasn't really that impressed. And in the SEC championship game, I think Georgia looked dominant as always. I don't think the defense played as well as they could have, but I mean, when you put up 50-plus points, you're going to win every single time.
Yeah, I think the top two teams in the playoffs this season are Georgia and Michigan.
Yeah.
And that's what I think it's going to come down to in the college football playoff.
Yeah, I
Who
agree.
do you guys think out of the top four teams?
I think Georgia is going to be TCU. Georgia's going to be Ohio State. I think Georgia's just the better team. And I think Michigan, TCU, I think it's going to be closer than most people think, but I definitely think Michigan's going to win. And the championship, I think Georgia's going to go back-to-back. Even though it usually doesn't happen, I just don't see a world where Georgia somehow loses to Michigan. I think they're by far the best team in the country.
Yeah, I got two upsets. I got TCU over Michigan. I got Ohio State over Georgia. Ohio State has a pretty good all-around team. They just got unlucky against Michigan, not what they wanted. But TCU is going to come out there after losing Kansas State in the conference tournament. They're really looking for that extra win. I think Max Duggan's going to pull it out.
I'm going to have to disagree with you. I think Georgia's a lockdown defense. They have a very experienced quarterback at 25 years old, and I don't think anybody's going to beat them. Now, who do you see your favorite to win the Heisman this season?
Again, I got Max Duggan, big TCU guy. He's literally carried that team. I don't know, if you watch all their highlights, look back at the season, he is literally that guy that gives them whatever they want. He rushes, he throws, does it all. This guy is he's unreal.
I'm going to have to go with Caleb Williams. I think he was the best player in the country this year. He really carried that USC offense with his legs, and his arm talent is through the roof. When he goes into the draft, his player comp is going to be Pat Mahomes all the way. I think he could definitely be, he has that type of level, and he can definitely be a top 5 quarterback once in his first few seasons.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. I think Caleb Williams is going to win the Heisman this season. And when we come back, we'll be talking about the NBA. Welcome back to the final whistle. Now we will talk about the NBA. What do you think about the surprising teams this year, good and bad?
I'm going to start with the Bulls. The Bulls have not been playing up to what I think they would be playing. I thought they'd be an NBA Finals candidate last year and this year because they have 4 really good players, but I think it's the coaching that's it's a problem there. They should be winning a lot of games.
Yeah, they have Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, a lot of star power. They should be playing them where they are. And what do you think about the Pelicans, high up in the standings?
Well, having Zion back is a key thing because the past couple of years they've been mediocre to bad, but now since Zion's coming back, you can see the clear difference he makes in that team.
Yeah, they have a really young core, and they're going to be good for a while, I think. And the Kings have been really playing well, surprisingly. What do you think about them?
I mean, De'Aaron Fox took something personal, in my opinion, because the kid's balling out a lot. He's doing really good. I respect his game a lot now.
Yeah, he's been really good for a while now, but at least they're playing better than how they were. And also the Lakers, they have been playing really bad, but they've been improving recently. Anthony Davis has been on a tear. Do you think they're going to be a good playoff team?
Well, I think they need to prove a little bit more, see if maybe sign someone important. But right now, I think if they're getting better as a team, then it's okay. Because Russell Westbrook has been actually being good too. Beginning of the season, no one wanted to play him because he's shooting 0-4 every game, but now he's improving a lot, which is helping the team improve, and I see them making the playoffs, but in the play-in tournament.
And the Celtics seem to be the best team in the league. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown leading them. Do you think they have what it takes to win the finals this year?
I think if Jason Tatum is playing the way he is, he's going to be the clear MVP of the league. He is unstoppable. The guy is putting up 30 every game. It's very hard to stop a guy like that who can shoot and dunk and do basically everything you need him to do.
That brings us to our next conversation. MVP. Who do you think it's going to be? Still Tatum?
I think I got Tatum, man. He's playing way too good to say it's not him. I mean, you have other guys up there like Giannis, Luka, and Steph, but Jason's carrying his squad to an 18-4 record right now, which is unbelievable for the Celtics.
They have triple-double machines also, Luka and Jokic, who are always in the conversation. Do you think they have a shot at it also?
I think Luka does have a fair shot at it, but his team is not doing well right now, and I think that's an influence in MVP talk when it comes to the NBA. But I think he still has a legitimate chance because he puts up really good numbers every night. And they have Jokic, who, he's MVP the last. He won back-to-back. And he's just an amazing center, probably the best center in the game, I think, in my opinion. He puts up a ridiculous amount of points, rebounds, assists. He does it all for a big boy.
Yeah, I would agree with you. The Nuggets, he's their whole team. And that brings us to our last topic, the refs. Do you think that their technical fouls have been soft?
Oh, yeah, 100%. You see clips all over social media of, John Morant just talking to the ref, and then he gets thrown out the game. It's you can't take out, you can't, throw out the superstars of the league. It just doesn't make any sense. No one's going to, no one likes that. Everybody wants to see John Morant score. No one wants to see him, leave the game because he said something to a ref. I think they need to, man up a little bit and, make the game a little bit tougher.
Yeah, I think that ruins the game. It makes it more fun watching players be more enthusiastic after they score a basket or something. And that'll do it for our show. Thanks for tuning in to The Final Whistle, and see you next time.